What role does slang have in a language? Why does slang exist?
Well, people are, why, I don't know, but the fact is people are very innovative, and they like to do things differently, and especially teenage cultures. Why do teenagers wear different clothes? Well, you know, whatever the reason is, they want to be different, they like to be innovative, they're creative, and
so there's fads and fashions in language?
Oh, sure. And in fact, there are styles of different groups. Some of them change very rapidly. The words that are in one era are archaic, and in another, the era can be 3 years or something like that. And people are playing with their languages often. Again, this is not too common in our societies. Our societies, remember, are basically technological societies. Our intelligence and creativity and so on goes into other things. But if you go to, say, Central Australia, where you're finding basically Stone Age tribes, there's a lot of innovation in language. A lot of the cultural wealth has to do with playing games with languages and constructing elaborate kinship systems and things which probably have no or little functional utility. It's just the creative mind at work, you know. So you get very complex language games. A special language system taught as a puberty right, and only a particular group of people speak it, nobody else understands it.
How does language differ in the way that it's used in the arts?
First of all, there's a variety of conventions, of formal conventions that are humanly created, but undoubtedly reflect our aesthetic capacities, that set a framework within which, they set a framework of rule, humanly imposed rule, within which people create. So, in an extreme case, if you write a sonnet, you have to come pretty close to a fixed frame. And while that's an extreme case, the same is true of other literary conventions. I mean, part of human creative intervention has been to create forms, aesthetic forms, which are somehow either appealing to us or challenge our intelligence or whatever, and you work within them. I mean, after all, painting on a piece of canvas that has a boundary, that's pretty recent in human history, and that itself imposes a framework which determines the kind of art that you can produce. And in the literary use of language is just everything from the structure of a novel to the metric character of a poetic form is one or another human invention.
Do you respond to poetry?
Do I? Sure. Yeah, if I have time to read it.
Does it make you think differently? So what goes on in your thought process?
Well, you know, I don't feel competent to say, but it's a topic that has been discussed quite intelligently. So, for example, if you read, say, but not by me, I have nothing to say about it, no one pretend to, but if you read, say, William Empson's 7 Types of Ambiguity, you get an intriguing account of why poetry makes you think, in part because it's so compressed, you know. And you only get hints, so the reader has to impose a lot of structure.
You have to put your own self into it.
And in part because the formal structure itself imposes a challenge to the intelligence. If you're just throwing paints around randomly, it's not a work of art, you know. But when it's done within the framework of a humanly constructed system of rule, at least you've got the prerequisites for a work of art. It still may not be. Whatever it takes, whatever creativity is, and that's not understood, that has to be there too. But certainly I have nothing to say about these topics. I wouldn't pretend to.